guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Claudia and that's really it. I'll really love you guys to like, subscribe and share and all of that fun stuff. I make self-development content and that's really it. This location is different from my usual location because I'm in my different room, and if I look down, that's because I have my laptop down here. And that's really it. It's been a while since I've posted a video. Summer has been really busy and we all have our commitments, but I'm back now. So without any further ado, I will move on to the video. I would like to talk to you guys about how to stop procrastinating and achieve your dream goals, achieve your dream life. We all know that procrastination is the easiest way to hinder ourselves from being the best version of ourselves, and maybe sometimes it's not like you entirely hinder yourself by procrastinating, but you delay yourself a lot, and down the line, 5 years down the line, you just sit down with yourself and realize, well, I wish I did this when I firstly had that idea. I wish I did that. I wish I did something different. It's fine. We all are here to learn. If we are born perfect, there wouldn't be anything to amend on and we wouldn't be humans. The most important thing is realizing your flaws and knowing how to improve based on your past experiences or based on what you have observed from other people's lives. So without further ado, I'll move on to the next part of the video. A procrastinator is mostly the fear of failure. We live in a day and age in which we are overwhelmed by the information we receive on social media. We see people's lifestyles and people become insecure when they see someone living in a better situation than they are. Or maybe I'm 19. There are many 19-year-olds who are millionaires out there. So many 19-year-olds who have been able to retire their families, their parents, and you know what I mean. But it is important to realize that people that you're looking at, they have started this journey earlier than you have. They have made those mistakes that you fear so much to make. If they were obsessed with perfectionism, they would not have tried and failed to be where they are at right now. You have to remember that we all are at a different stage in life. We all learn and unlearn things, like I mentioned previously. It is important to be kind on yourself. Most of the times, it is a question of practicing self-love. And when you're afraid of failing because you have seen people's achievements and you forget that they have made mistakes before accomplishing such great achievements, then that's when you start having a different point of view, perspective, and start treating yourself kindly. To think, if your sister or your brother or a loved one of yours is trying to achieve a goal that they know is really accomplishing something very significant, and you know it's really significant for them, you know that what they're trying to achieve is really outstanding, you know that you would be really gentle and encouraging with them and you wouldn't be too harsh on them. So you have to use that same kindness that you would show a person in your same shoes and pour it towards yourself. You have to show yourself that same kindness that you would show to other people. Another cause of procrastination, which is also linked to the previous point that I made, is perfectionism. Yeah, perfectionism. Most of us strive to do things so perfect on the first try, forgetting that most things are achieved from trial and error. Most things have had to be practiced. You could see a new star popping off today and you forget that this person has been practicing, rehearsing, tried and failing for 10 years before their name was even heard. I don't know, I always reference, the first person who always comes to my mind is Beyonce. Beyonce is one of the greatest artists we know right now. She's made so much history, many achievements and accomplishments, but she would not be who she is now if she didn't try and fail, or if she didn't put in consistent work. And if she didn't show up every day, regardless of how she felt, regardless of her being angry, tired or whatever, like if she didn't present herself every day unapologetically, she would not be where she is at today. Cannot expect to be perfect at something without trying, without attempting, without mistakes are really crucial. That is what I'm trying to say. Mistakes are crucial because without any mistakes, you have nothing to work on, you have nothing to improve on. You have to operate based on your feedback and operate based on your trials and errors. This is what makes us the best versions of ourselves. And another example which I can link with the obsession of perfectionism, which I have noticed in myself and many other people, is that we usually spend too much time setting a perfect plan, a perfect routine to aim a certain goal, and we forget that we get so caught up, we spend all of our time into setting this specific goal, rewriting it, re-planning, doing so many vision boards. We forget that you actually have to put the actual action into your goals, into your dreams and aspirations to achieve them. And you can't just spend your time writing notes, making notes, writing routine, writing a to-do list. You get what I mean. So yeah, that's one of many things that we all have to reflect on. So spend more time into trying than just planning things and obsessing over the little details. This again goes in hand with the previous points that I raised. Obsession in perfectionism also links with someone being overwhelmed with a large task. Let's say at the start of an academic year, you have set certain goals you want to get. That's a big task. You could write it down on your to-do list and that seems like just one thing you're meant to do, but you forget that that's like a big task. It requires consistency, it requires a lot of work. You have large goals into smaller ones that fitting into consistent intervals, so you won't be burnt out and you won't be too intimidated by certain tasks. That I have noticed is the lack of motivation from people. Speaking to people, sometimes you can tell like they want to do something, they want to achieve it, but they lack that ambition, they lack that drive, they lack that motivation. Motivation is actually, I believe it's easy to obtain. Sometimes just listening to motivational podcasts or speakers can really help you to get that initial motivation, even though then you need to build strong discipline to stick with it, because motivation comes in sparks. So if you only act based on when you feel motivated, then you lack consistency, and if you lack consistency, then that's when you start procrastinating. So you can't go with one without going with the other. So now I will share with you tips and tricks that I have practiced to tackle procrastination. So first thing I have done is to break large goals into little goals, which links to what I mentioned previously. This obviously helps because so I won't feel intimidated and I won't feel overwhelmed when I'm trying to achieve something. For example, let's say it's exam season. You have a big exam the next day. Maybe you haven't studied and you're overwhelmed, which should never happen. But most people end up cramming all the contents they've learned the whole semester or trimester. I don't know how different schools different, but let's say you cram all the content that you have learned from that subjects in the whole semester. That is mostly to cause burnout, and it's mostly to be overwhelming for people. Instead of doing that, you should maybe break down the task into little ones. Another tip is to never do things just based on how you feel. Because if you're not showing up to work just because you're sad, you won't get paid that day. You can't not go to school one day just because you're sad, because then you miss that content, then you're behind, and if you want that A star, you won't really get it because you missed that day because of your emotions. Then again, like, you have to think, like, if you have to picture, right, if the services that you rely on, let's say you have a holiday and you book a flight, and the flight is meant to take you from your location to your destination. If the pilot or the other pilots or the organization felt sad that they don't want to show up, that they're not feeling like it, you won't get yourself to that destination. You know what I mean? You won't get the holiday you're looking for. There's some people who might be looking up to you. There's some people who admire what you do. And there's some people who respect your efforts, your performance. I'm not just saying this so you will rely on other people approving what you do, because the fact that you have that ambition, you should act on it consistently out of respect for yourself. Hi guys, I am recording this clip like 2-3 days after the previous clips, so that's why I'm dressed a bit different. I still have the same hairstyle. If I'm looking down, that's because I've got my laptop here. I made my bullet points so we can carry on. So on the last clip, if I'm not mistaken, I was talking about how it's important to act regardless of how you feel, because if you base your actions just on your emotion, then that's how you end up like lacking consistency, lacking accountability, and procrastinating, which is exactly what we don't want. So make sure you are showing up unapologetically every day or consistently, regardless of how you feel, regardless of your mood, regardless of anything, and make sure that you present yourself, you carry yourself well, and add a little progress in your life. This is also linked with the next tip that I am sharing with you guys, which is the importance of building self-discipline is very linked strictly with procrastination. As we all know, self-discipline is not a factor that most of us are just born with, and it's a skill that one has to acquire and build in long term. So you can start building your self-discipline by delayed gratification, that you have to like push away like instant gratification, set number of hours or minutes after completing a certain task. To build that skill, to build a skill of discipline, you have to like indulge immediately into that reward that you set yourself after accomplishing a task. It makes you look forward less, focus less on just the gratification of a set task that you just accomplished. So your focus will be more set on task you're doing, and you're more likely to complete that set task to a higher standard. An example of this could be like resisting the urge of scrolling on social media after completing a task that you have set up. The thing is that you must be able to limit distractions. Anything that you know that if it's like around you, it will distract you from a set task. Just get that away from your environment, from your workspace. Let's say if you're doing your homework or you're studying, make sure that your phone is like maybe in another room. Limits the distractions around you, and it limits the temptation that you have from like wanting to use your phone, check the notifications, start scrolling, and all that funny stuff. Another thing that also would help a lot with procrastination is like the 5-minute rule, if I'm not mistaken. If you've heard of the 5-minute rule, then you know what I mean. So basically, if you have like, let's say a to-do list, you've got a list of tasks that you need to accomplish, right? Or you need to carry out in the day. Basically, just give yourself 5 minutes. Just say you're gonna do that for 5 minutes. So as you start, you do that, you carry out that task for like 5 minutes. You end up spending more time in it, you know what I mean? Like you spend more time doing the work that you set on. Usually, like, we tend to dread the amount of time we could spend on one simple task, but by just pushing yourself to start it for just those 5 minutes will really help you to actually complete that task. Our brain only needs simple things to trigger it to take action, then the rest just sorts itself out. So next time that you find yourself like dreading a task that you need to do, just give yourself 5 minutes to do it. And by that time, you've started it and you've actually finished the task that you set out. I hope that makes sense. Another thing that I noticed that people need to realize and enforce more is the importance of consistency. I have mentioned consistency previously, and we all know that consistency is a major factor to defeating your procrastination and your procrastinating tendencies. But you have to like be able to like not, how can I say, be consistent, but also manage the intensity of the workload that you have given yourself. So don't put large amounts of tasks, large amounts of workload which you believe that you will be able to complete in a short amount of time. That is horrendous. That is self-harming, and you end up probably self-sabotaging yourself, because you're more likely to undergo burnout in a situation like that. But if you're consistent and the workload you have set are like, it's regular intensities, it's not too much, it's not too little, you are less likely to be overwhelmed, and you're more likely to be consistent. And whenever you have to do another task in your list or things to accomplish, you will feel less stressed, you'll feel less overwhelmed, because the intensity of the workload you have set yourself is not exhausting, it's not too intense to the point that you'll be burnt out and you end up running away from the task. So make sure that the workload you set for yourself is like manageable and even enjoyable. Like, yes, one thing for sure is like, if when you set things that are hard to accomplish, or that require a lot from you, make sure that you make any little effort to make it more enjoyable for you. So you will actually end up romanticizing the task that you're accomplishing, or the task that you set for yourself, rather than dreading it because the environment is not nice, the way in which you have to do it is not nice, and there's nothing enjoyable. Advice to have an accountability partner. I have my younger sister usually to be my accountability partner. So if you have someone who's closer to you, or someone you see as often, and they actually check you on maybe when you're slacking, or when you're not as consistent, or when they notice that you're procrastinating, that will really, really help. Because one thing is like, we really value the opinions of other people. We are generally human beings are built like that. And if it's an opinion of someone you care about, it's really going to have an impression on you. We don't want to look bad in front of our loved ones. We don't want to look like we don't care about ourselves. So it is a way in which you can keep yourself accountable. You can keep yourself, make sure that it can be hard if you are yet to build that discipline that you're trying to aim. If you're yet to build it, it will be really hard to achieve it by yourself, if not impossible. So if you have someone, that your friend, your sibling, your parent, whoever that is close to you, they have love for you and they know you well, these people in your life, they can really help you to be your accountability partner. And most of the times when your close friends or loved ones, like, they see that you're in a new journey, they really value what you're doing, they really value the journey you're in, they really value you becoming the best version of yourself. And if they see you slacking on it, that will actually annoy them too, because they want the best for you. So even when you're slacking because of silly reasons or because of whatever, they'll actually be there for you and tell you, girl, pick yourself up, just what you're doing, get going, this is not what we do over here. So yes, search for an accountability partner, and make sure that you actually take the feedback that they give you, because pride, ego gets really triggered if someone else comes and approaches us and tells us, oh, you're actually slacking, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. So for the fact that you don't want your ego to be hurt, it's like a way to trick your mind into, you know what I mean? Regardless, you still have your trials and errors. You'll have times in which you will make mistakes. You'll have times when you're slacking. You'll have times when you need help. You'll have times when you're not doing as good. And it is entirely fine. It is entirely fine. I value the importance of having a growth mindset. In moments in which you make mistakes, or you fail to present yourself in a certain way that any of us are proud of in general, but if you have to adapt a growth mindset, you have to understand that, okay, this is a challenge that I have faced. How can I tackle it Don't be too overwhelmed or stressed because it's a challenge that you never faced before. In the end of the day, we all have our challenges and we're all here to grow. So once you see that this is a challenge, you know it's hard, appreciate the struggle that comes with it, because that's only going to make you better than the person you was before. Then on top of that, if you make any mistakes, don't see yourself as a failure because you've made a mistake, because you were less consistent, because you've been procrastinating. It's fine. It's fine. The important thing is that you are able to pick yourself up, to acquire your consistency again, and start doing your thing. Don't let that one mistake hold you back. Don't let that procrastination, don't let that time that you fell off track hold you down and cause shame for you. You have to be on understanding that you're here to learn, and you can't learn without making mistakes. Use your feedback, use your past experiences, use where you went wrong, and improve. Take pride in that. There's so many people in your position that they don't have the same opportunity. They don't know what you know now, and for the fact that you know it and you're actually working towards building discipline and being a stronger person both mentally and physically, it is important that you take pride in that and make every moment have its worth, because it all has its own value. Of yourself, you can have burnouts, you can have stress or whatever, but make sure that you take good care of yourself. You're all you've got, and your health is really important. Your physical, mental well-being, all of this is important, and no one has more responsibility to look after themselves over you than you already have for yourself. So make sure that you stick by that and fulfill that at all costs. Then lastly, make sure that if you have a set goal, you have an inspiration, you have a thought in your mind, you have a vision, just carry it out. Start it now. Do it unprepared. Do it without any experience. Do it without any knowledge, because in the end of the day, like I said, we learn through our mistakes and we learn as we go. We face our challenges and those challenges make us stronger. So just start unprepared. Don't be scared. All the people that you look up to today, they all had their mistakes, they all had their trials and errors, and if they did not try and pick up again, they would not be where they are today. You would not be respecting or admiring certain people if they did not have the work ethic, if they weren't as consistent, and if they did not start unprepared. So you don't have to be a perfect human being, a perfect entity to fulfill your dreams and learn as you go. That's all it takes from you. That's all it takes from you. I wonder how this video came out with. I did record this video across like 2-3 days. Thank you so much guys for watching. I love you all. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and that's really it. I am looking forward to see you on my next video. Bye.